happens when someone other than Billie Joe writes a Green Day song? Jilly Bo Legweek is the main songwriter for Green Day, with Mike and Trey typically playing their instruments and helping to arrange the song. They're structurists, but what happens when someone other than Billie Joe brings lyrics to the table? Stay the night, because we're taking a look at every Green Day song with lyrics written by someone else other than Billie Joe Armstrong, and in order of release date. How many will there be? Alright guys, let's go.
The first instance on this first batch of songs Green Day would produce with a wonderful song called I Was There. Original drummer John Kiffmeyer wrote this yearning yet positive lyric about looking back fondly at his memories. Like any Green Day song, there is a darker element buried within, but the tune holds up against what Billy was writing at the time, and I'd love to hear more Kiffmeyer penned music. The One I Want has lyrics by Billie Joe and Mike Dirnt instead of just Jilly Bo. The 1039 compilation is also pregnant with the cover of Knowledge by Operation Ivy, which clearly wasn't written by anyone in Green Day, but by men with close ties to the band. More on that coming up in the Kerplunk section. The Kerplunk section is here now. That Knowledge cover was written in part by Jesse Michaels of Operation Ivy, and on Kerplunk, he ends up being one of the few outside writers to get a lyric/music credit on a Green Day tune. While 2,000 Light Years Away is a Billie Joe penned tune, Jesse added some additional lyrics and music to the mix. And while we're speaking about this song, it was never released as a single, although it's clear that Green Day always wanted it to be one. Next song, oh boy. Kerplunk is the first Green Day album to feature another member singing lead on a track, and the song in question is Dominated Love Something by Trey Cool. The band's replacement, once old John Kiffmeyer was out of the picture and jumped on the drum kit. Billie Joe had some winks and nods in his lyrics up until now, even some chuckles, but Trey Cool brings the pain on DLS, as we're going to call it here, while he sings about belt sanders against exposed flesh. Oh yeah! Best Thing in Town has lyrics co-written by Billie Joe and Mike Dirnt, a rarity for the Static Ages. And then the well-done cover of The Who's My Generation was also not a Ali Bo Jegwong tune. A side note, covers are just covers and won't be included in my final tally at the end of this video. The album that catapulted Green Day into international superstardom, and Mike Dirnt wrote a standout track that many people are not aware of. Eminous Sleepiness, or Sleep with the Buyer, is penned by bassist Mike Dirnt, who up to this point had been lyrically mute within the band. It's a song about a shift in friendship dynamics, and one that fits perfectly in the oeuvre of the Emerald Time Period band. Trey Cool gets his second time on the mic after penning yet another joke song entitled All By Myself. While not as over-the-top as DLS, your mind doesn't have to stray heart too far away from the subject matter of Longview to guess where Trey is going with this, by himself. Will there be a Trey and Mike penned song on each album that Green Day releases? Well, no. But wait and see what's coming anyway. Insomniac. No joke songs by Trey Cool on Insomniac, but Mike Dirnt is again snatching the pen right out of Jilly Bo's hot living hand and writing a freaking song. Panic Song is a change from the Green Day norm with an extended intro before blasting into familiar territory. While it's a Dirnt song, in some ways this does feel like a transitionary song into the Nimrod era. Another Green Day nerd fact for you right there. That was pretty cool. Unfortunately, as Green Day moved into that era, the Nimrod era, Mike and Trey either brought nothing to the table while Nimrod was crafted in the studio, but it's more than likely that it's because while stressed and not sleeping, Jilly Bo Legweek wrote some of the greatest material of his career, of all the time. Also, during the Insomniac era, Mike would pen lyrics to a hit for the band, with J.A.R. being their biggest standalone single. Way to go, Mike. Mikey. Warning, live without warning. While Nimrod did not bear any Trey or Mike berries, which is a weird thing. I think Trey only has one berry. There is somewhat of a reward after the drought. And Oasis, Warning, had the first and only song where the lyrics were written by all three band members as a collective. One does have to wonder which words went to whose pen, and after careful analysis by yours truly, I believe that Mike and Trey were responsible for the outlandish character arcs, while Billie Joe focused on that chorus that feels much more in tune with what he usually writes. Please leave a comment expressing your disagreements with my statements.
And stop! We've got to take a look at the greatest B-sides collection in history.
The one, the only.
Shenanigans.
I wanna be an American dummy. Oh, hi guys. Shenanigans is jam-packed with B-sides that slay any other band's main discography. Covers of songs by the Ramones, Fangs, and the Kinks. It's just pure punk rock majesty.
And it also shows that Warning could have a Mike Dirnt song if it hadn't been scrapped. Scumbag was taken directly from the Warning sessions and used as the perfect of any album ever. Shenanigans. Mike has his own unique writing signature. Short, punchy songs filled with pent-up emotional gravitas. I'll back your solo record, Mike Dirnt. It's going to cost $27 exactly. Let's partner up. Shenanigans also features the most fleshed out Mike song to date in the classic, underrated, Ha Ha You're Unalive. Thanks, YouTube. If you haven't heard this one, you have to. It's a contender for the greatest song of all time, and it's on a freaking B-sides collection. How can I say freaking but not unalived? Is what it is. We gotta pay for the YouTube mention somehow. We're gonna get a little edgy in this video for what we can get away with. Also, the unreleased DUI is a creation of Trey Cool, and it's pretty darn hilarious.
In some ways, American Idiot was Mike Dirnt's idea. Mike is an early bird, and while his bandmates, at least in 2003 and 4, were, let's use the word, insane, Mike was in the studio with bass in hand and ready to make some rock and roll. But Billie Joe Legweek and Cray Toole were nowhere to be found. Mike began noodling away and presumably drank 10 cups of coffee in a fit of pent-up rage. How could Billie and Trey do this again? He wrote the 1 minute and 20-second Nobody Likes You, which would later be Frankenstein together to form the 10-minute song Homecoming, the critical mass of the heartbreaking tale of Jimmy and Amanda. Oh man, did I say Amanda? I meant redacted. What's her name? Mike Dirnt unleashed the beast. Billie and Trey began work on separate parts of a 5-sweet story of finding oneself inside of a nightmare. But we're letting Billie Joe be the forgotten in this video. Remember, whatever. Trey Cool scribbled down a 44-second song called Rock and Roll Girlfriend, which would follow Mike Dirnt's lament about his bandmates' immaturity. Also, during the American Idiot, we got the one and only full-length Mike Dirnt fronted song called Governator, which is up to par with the rest of the songs on the album. Mike Dirnt can write lyrics and belt them like the best frontman in rock and roll history. Start your own band, my brother. One that won't leave you hanging in the studio in 2003. Also, 10 cups of coffee is a bit wild. Try cutting down to 7, please, so you don't explode. Remember when we had to skip all that fun for the Nimrod era? Ditto to the era of Christian and Gloria on 21st Century Breakdown. Billie Joe held his ideas close to home and wouldn't share his lyrics with his bandmates. But it gets worse, people. During the American Idiot era, Green Day had clashed with each other, but worked things out. And much of that had to do with Billie Joe being an overly controlling part of the band. But on the following 6 Green Day records, not a single lyric was reading Not a single lyric writing peep was heard from Mike Dirnt or Trey Cool. But that's not to say this video is over. Oh no, we've got more non-Billie Joe writers to talk about yet, even if they aren't in my international super cool list at the end of this video. Trilogy, Revolution Radio, and Father of All Eras.
While the band would preemptively give songwriting credits to Sam Cooke for his strong influence on Brutal Love on the Trey album, many other artists would come forward about tracks on Uno, where the band would retroactively give songwriting credits to an assortment of musicians from other bands. Remember though, this list is just for a switch in lyric writing within the band, but we'll still discuss this musical writing credit problem nonetheless. The trilogy track Carpe Diem sounds legally similar to Guns of Life by the Purple Hearts. So Billie is sharing songwriting credits with Jeff Shadbolty. Kill the Jill. What? Sounds funky, yet has been categorized as a partial rip-off as well. I can't do the name, guys. Don't ask me to pronounce that. I cannot even say Shelton good. Loss of Control is credited to the Pretenders team for sounding like Pack It Up, and thus the boozy four-piece version of Green Day avoided 3 lawsuits. That's trace lawsuits. Good job, last gang in town. On Revolution Radio, the legal avoidances credits kept cropping up as well, with Outlaws giving credit for sounding like Lupe Brown, written by John F. somebody, and Still Breathing, the classic Green Day tune. Some people hear that one and some people don't. But, ayo, the Snuts are like Green Day in that they put on one mind-altering experience of a concert. You gotta see them. I saw them open for Foo Fighters in 2017, and hey, on 2020's fantastic Father of All ... Green Day were mostly operating in their typical post-idiot writing style, Billie Joe. But as a big and rather strange exception, it's on
one of the glorious foam hits.
Oh yeah! Unfortunately features a sample of Do You Wanna Touch Me, Oh Yeah, by Gary Glitter and Mike Leander. The song was made famous by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and Green Day made up for the Gary Glitter connection with a benefit and proceeds and yada yada yada, but many people still found it a bit of an icky subject. After all that, we've got one song written by John Kiffmeyer with I Was There. We've got 2 songs that were Billie and Mike writing lyrics together, The One I Want and The Best Thing in Town. 1 Mike and Billie lyric on Panic Song. 3 Trey Cool songs with Dominated Something, All By Myself, and DU Something. 5 Dirnt lyrics in Eminous Sleepiness, Governator, Jar, Scumbag, and Haha You're Dead. 2 songs with lyrics by the entire group, Misery and Homecoming, and then the 2 oddball tracks in 2,000 Light Years Away and the true classic called Nightlife, where an outside writer gets credit. So how many times did Green Day have a switch in songwriting that was credited to either John, Mike, or Trey Cool? The answer is there are 14 Green Day songs that are not the standard music by Green Day, lyrics by Jilly Bo Leg Week.
1972 will be their 14th album. You know,